Hello and welcome back to the T's and C's of Life podcast.
I didn't realise that was the silence until I saw your eye. That was really weird.
I thought I'm going to get the silence in first. This is at the start of every fucking podcast.
But why is she looking at me like that? Just weird. Wow.
Oh, you were taking ages to put your phone on silent there.
I was checking my emails. It worked. Without the look, it would have been much more settling for me. Yeah, that was weird. So glad that we do this visual. Or not, because people should actually see the looks that you do. It's not normal.
Do you know what? I would have never have known about the silence, because the reason you take a silence at the beginning is that it captions the ambient noise around you, so the ticking of the clock and sometimes the spinning of the washing machine or whatever.
Right, okay.
So you can then capture that, you can reduce that noise caption throughout the entire recording. So that's why we do it, because that clock ticks like a motherfucker.
I don't notice it, but then I tune things out.
Oh, well, that's what this whole thing is about, tuning out the background noise, for the people who have got...
Can you just not look at me then when you're doing it next time? It's really freaky.
I'm sorry, I didn't realise. I was just
sitting
thinking,
in
why
silence.
is she taking so long to silence her phone?
No, it's just sitting in silence, staring at me.
Oh man, the silence has gone on for like 20 seconds. Normally we manage like 3 seconds in that.
That's what it is. I need to distract myself and not look at you, and then it'll be fine.
Oh dear. Right, well, we're on episode 29, I think.
Are we?
Season 3, yeah, episode 29.
Wowzers.
I know.
We're season 3. What was season 2?
Well, we have a break and then we call it a season. I don't think we really give it a theme. Maybe we should. We've just started the season, so we're not doing it.
Yeah, don't confuse me anymore.
Maybe we should just drop the whole season thing.
Yeah, because it does confuse me. I don't know what season. We could be on any season.
Okay.
Every week, I don't know.
Well, we're entering the winter.
Yes. Yay, my boots are coming back out.
Oh yeah, I know. I put on these tights today and I was a bit like, ooh, I feel like I should be wearing a boot over these.
Yep.
Because you can't really wear them over skinny jeans.
Oh, I can. My boot, I can.
Not with my chunky legs, you can't.
Well, you need chunkier boots. All it is.
Oh dear.
No.
Right, to feed into our last solo episode, so our most recent episode was with Hayley. She was talking about autism disorder.
Yep.
We were talking about randomisation in the episode before that.
Yes,
now, at the weekend, I was watching Netflix on the telly, and I seen this little switchback button, and I thought, oh, what's this? It's a random play.
Does it work?
Yes. Well,
I'm scared of it.
The algorithm kind of tunes in the kind of shows that you like.
Right, okay.
But how often do you finish a TV show and you're like, oh, what the fuck am I going to watch now?
Yeah.
How many times do people post on Facebook, oh, give me... I mean, I've done it.
Yes, you do.
And
then you tell us no.
Yeah. So my sister the other day, so the last post that I did, I was like, on Netflix, Sky, or Prime, I think. And my sister Louise was like, oh, this is on Apple TV. I was like, wait, where the fuck? In my statement, where did I say I have Apple TV?
No, Apple TV
so I
is
just
really
replied
good,
to her, I don't have Apple TV, like with fingers pointing upwards.
Oh, wow. That's very passive-aggressive. Or just aggressive, I'm not sure. Actually.
Maybe I didn't put the fingers, but I was thinking about putting the fingers. Maybe.
She saw the fingers.
Maybe I filtered that out.
Well.
Okay. But anyway, so I then went onto the app on Netflix and it didn't have the randomisation on the app. But yesterday it did. Oh. So they've got a random button on the home screen of Netflix that
I have seen it come up when I've finished something, but I'm again.
Yeah, but that's more like this. That shows that are more like this. This is a totally...
it's like a spinny, like a crossy thing.
Yeah, like
doing very weird fingers. I don't know what's wrong. It's just wrong. But I'd be scared that I don't want to start something that I'm not going to like.
Oh, I started watching Squid Game the other day.
Me and Bo have started that.
Fuck, you're watching it with Bella? Fucking hell.
Is it very bad?
Oh, it's terrible.
She's a teenager.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's so, I mean, I like violence. I like guns.
Is it really violent?
It's fucking awful.
Oh.
Like, people
we haven't
don't
started
explode,
the games yet.
But it's the kind of psychological terror that it instills in you. The thought of like about to play a game with all these random people around you, and then people start dropping dead because this doll turns its head and starts. It does this really weird spinny thing with its eyes, and it just. Oh God, it's awful. I
wasn't going to watch it because I can't do dubbed. And I can't do subtitles, which eliminates a lot of stuff. I've realised now if I watch it while I'm working, I'm not watching it anyway. I'm listening more. So it doesn't matter that it's dubbed. So, and then I was watching it while I was doing the washing up the other day. Or some of it, only like 10 minutes. But the subtitles don't match the dub.
Yeah, I know.
How does that make any sense?
I know, it's annoying when that happens.
And that's just messing with my brain more because then I'm listening, I'm reading. It's not. It's all a head fuck.
You're too tightly wound.
I actually think I am. I always thought I was very laid back. I'm realising I'm not.
The lead character in Squid Game, he's a weak man, and it just you can't be a weak man and the lead of a show that I'm going to watch. You have to be someone like
something's
Banshee.
got to happen then. I don't like Banshee.
Oh, you didn't watch it at the right time.
It's just not. Do you know what I think it is? I think with some of those American programmes, there's so many of them. So once you've done a couple that are kind of that thing,
yeah, I do agree.
It's then like, oh, this is just going to be the same. I can't really be arsed anymore.
I don't feel that Banshee was like that. Like the more you watched it, like the story and the development of the characters was outstanding. But you have to give it time. I wasn't
attracted to him either.
Oh, no. See, I wasn't at the start either. It's the character. It's who he is.
You need to build.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because
I'm not on him. No.
The other thing that I've written down, because I've written myself a little list of things I need to remember to talk about, is this podcast that I've started listening to called 3 Little Words. I think it came up on Spotify. And it's John Bishop and Tony Pitts. I think it's Pitts or is it Pitts? See if you listen to his voice, you will know his voice and it will torment you as to who the fuck he is. Because he's got such a distinctive sounding voice. And I'm not going to tell you what he's from. You're just going to have to figure it out. But it's so they invite. No, because it'll ruin it. Because the whole. I think what I enjoy about a podcast is the sound of a person's voice, the conversation. And him and John Bishop have been friends for 20 years. And you can just tell that in the rapport. It's really lovely. They know each other. They've known each other for such a long time. Their personal jokes are funny. And although I don't necessarily know what they mean, I appreciate that because I do my podcast with my friends, so I know what it's like. And you can tell the different dynamic with somebody who their producers have put them together because they'll be good for the face of the podcast, or they're two popular names and they'll be successful. You can't fake rapport, and it's just fantastic. So they have guests come on and they bring on their three words that mean something to them, and it's just the conversations that transpire from that. I was listening to the one with Jules Holland the other day, and oh, Jesus Christ, why do I not know the name of it? Oh, God, that's going to really fucking piss me off now.
I can't help you.
No, you can't. It's a style of piano.
Keyboard.
No, it's a style of piano playing that... Oh, I'm going to have to let go of it because I can't remember it. But it was such a benign word. Like, it's a fun word to say, although I can't remember it. But the story that came as a result of the conversation, it was just so interesting. So Tony gives you the etymology of the word. So that is like the background where it came from, the different uses throughout history.
That's a new word.
Etymology. I don't know. Maybe it's one of the words I'll bring to the podcast when we go on one day.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely brilliant. And there's not, sometimes when you start listening to a new podcast, there's a whole back catalogue to catch up on.
It doesn't matter.
There's not that many. I think they started in... it was either July this year or July last year. There's not a massive back catalogue, but there's enough for you to be like, oh, I really like this. Oh, I'm going to listen. And now that I'm working in a school that's like an hour's drive away from here, it's a decent podcast listen. So I'm getting through the podcast and...
that is a good use of time.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And I can't listen to podcasts while I drive. I get confused. I do. I listen to our one. I've got to stop just listening to our podcast.
I know, I listen to us as well sometimes.
But I did, and I nearly crashed the car because I get so engrossed. I'm like, shit. I can't do two things at once, I've realised. It was bad. It was really bad. So now it's just music. Just music.
Oh,
can't
dear.
do that. No, I'll try that one. That sounds like one that possibly could entertain me.
Yeah.
Keep me entertained.
And it's educational as well. Like, you learn something.
like a word that you don't remember.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find that now, but I don't have my phone to Google it. For fuck's sake, that's so annoying.
You'll find it. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes, yeah. Once I figure out what it is.
Yeah, what the word is. No.
Do you have any headlines to share? What have you been up to?
No, well, I went to see Catherine Ryan the other day. And do you know what? Thinking of podcasts as well, because her podcast is, I just love her. And she actually ties in with what we're talking about today, probably, because she is such a just female empowerment.
Yeah, she is. She's queen,
just,
yeah,
she's just amazing. And it was really cute because it was her first show back from lockdown, having a baby, having long COVID, as she kept telling us. So she came out with a glass of wine and she sort of just stood and did her thing. And it was, what was really lovely, it was a small venue. So it was like, we were literally right at the back, but you could still see her. It wasn't, I'd say, like the length of here to your garden. Like
really?
It was a really small venue, but up. But she was just brilliant. And it was just, I just laughed so much. And her warm-up act as well was this lady, Tanya Moore, who, honestly, look her up because she's brilliant. She was really, really funny.
Okay.
And I was like, you know, when you're not sure with some warm-ups that they could be a bit, meh.
Yeah.
But she was great, interacted with the crowd, and I think that's what you get with the smaller venues. She is Tanya with it's ridiculous. She does a whole thing. She is THANYA. Tanya. Yeah, she was really slagging off her dad. She used the C word to talk about her dad. But she was, it was just brilliant, and it was a Wednesday night. So it was random. It was like, we'd booked it ages ago, but it was, you know, when you forget that, and then you're like, shit, I've got to do this tonight.
Yeah.
And brilliant. I love her. Oh. I do love her. She's just great. And I want to watch The Duchess again now, just to remind myself of how...
that was a really good show.
And I've realised it is based a lot on her life, which I thought at the time, but yeah, little stories that she was telling and saying, yeah, you've seen this. And you're like, yeah. She's just very cool. But no, I love Catherine Ryan.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, Catherine, have me on your podcast. Us. See, I'm so selfish.
Selfish woman.
I want her for myself.
Do you remember when we went up to see Take Me Out getting filmed at Maidstone Studios?
Yes.
And there was a is he called a warm-up guy? Is he...
Yeah, they're more
a crowd pleaser or something?
Something like that.
Where they get you all kind of loose and willing to cheer and laugh along at all the fake jokes, all the nasties behind the...
It's comedy's hard. I think that you know when sometimes you watch the comedy shows and you're a bit like, you're not funny. Yeah. It must be really difficult for them because it's a lot of pressure, but equally be funny. Or don't do this as your job.
I know, but I think comedy's such a personal thing though, isn't it? It's not... Like, what I find funny, you don't always find... Like, when I've suggested TV shows that I think are really funny, you're like, oh, I don't fucking get it.
No, that's very true.
And it's also personal when the person who doesn't enjoy your suggestion kind of kicks back and says, I didn't get it. I don't think it's funny. It's like... And it's not my comedy, but it's my personal taste and you don't like it. And it's
that's very true. It's like, how do you not like that? Yeah. What's wrong with you? We shouldn't be friends. Very different people. But, no, that is very true. But... yeah, I do love good comedy, and I've realised I do love wrong comedy, which I always have done, like very non-PC. Like, you should be able to a point, take the piss out of everyone. Yeah. Like, that's what comedy is, and there is a line, obviously, but you should be able to do it, because that's where some of the best comedy has come from, And it's difficult because I know there's some comedians that have been really pulled up, especially for things that they've said in the past. But if you're not, I think it's kind of, if you're not being offensive, there's a difference between being offensive and just being funny. Yeah. I think. And if you get that right, and Catherine Ryan does that, her thing at the moment is straight white males. She just takes the piss out of straight white males. Yeah. Because, and even as she said, they are the last person to have the piss taken out of them. We've done men, we've done women. We've done gays, we've done black people, like, bring on the straight white male. We've done every other race, we've done everything. Let's bring on the straight white male. Yeah. And she said she gets more complaints from straight white males than any other group that she's taken the piss out of. Oh, wow. Yeah, said they're bitches.
They are bitches.
Sorry to all our straight white male listeners, but you are bitches. I know a few.
Well, now I know this isn't something we were going to talk about, but it lends itself to what you've just mentioned there about comedians having their own way about whatever they say. Where does racism stand in terms of comedy? You know, Chris Rock, off the top of my head, has been the worst in terms of what I can't say I've seen all the comedy, but he's mainstream. So I've seen him. Now, but I don't find him funny because I find it really, his voice irritates me, but I can see beyond. I like him he's in like...
Rush Hour. He's very funny.
Oh, he's in some kids film or something just now, some animated. His voice is in something.
Hold on. Do you know what? I've just been really offensive. Can I do this every time with him? I get him really confused. No, okay.
He is the wrong one.
No, he's not. That's Chris Tucker. Not. And I know that's Chris Tucker. Oh. And my brain went for a second. Apologies that black people do not all look the same.
No, but he's got a similar name.
It is a similar name and they're both comedians.
Wait a minute, did I say...
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock and Chris Tucker, yes.
That one's Chris Rock.
Oh, yeah, he's a handsome man.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
He's got a nice smile and he's funny.
No, Chris Rock to me, I think because of films I've seen him in and he's played like drug addicts and looks...
Are you talking about Chris Rock or Chris Tucker?
Chris Rock.
Who's that you've just shown me?
That's Chris Rock.
Well, who's Chris Tucker then? Oh. Sorry, guys. This is such a visual.
I know.
segment on the podcast, and we're all
Chris
about the
Tucker.
audio. Oh yeah, no, he's not handsome. And
I think Chris Tucker's more handsome than Chris Rock. But then I love Chris Tucker. Like he is. I just love him. Mm-hmm. I love him so much. Chris Rock, on the other hand, I haven't actually seen that much of his comedy, but I think that it's difficult again because when you're saying that you don't like it, what are you saying? Which bits don't you like?
He uses, I think, from my I haven't watched it again. I say it again. I say I haven't watched it recently, but I'm pretty sure he's used the N-word.
Oh yeah,
he uses it loosely and a lot, and I just find it unnecessary. And I think because it's a word, as society, we don't use. He's a black man. He should be empowered to use it because it's part of his history. But you know, people watch that, people hear that, and young people who want to imitate that kind of style, it's a word that can flow off the tongue quite easily with its horrific connotations, and it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't sit easy with me, and I just find him a bit gnarly when he talks. I'm sorry, Chris, I'm really... If you listen to us, you know...
I haven't watched him in a while, and I think when it comes to the N-word for me, I do wish everyone would just stop using it, because it is just an offensive word. It is just get rid of it. But equally, if it's that whole reclaiming, I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that. But I can't have that argument with... There's too many people that do use it to have that argument with, so I'm just leaving them to it. But as long as most people know, don't use it, then we're cool. But... I think when you get, especially a lot of the black comedians, they're doing their comedy from their lives. Yeah, I know. And sometimes it goes deeper. If you look at the comedy and some of the things that they say and what they do, it actually is beyond comedy and it's actually very clever, as well as being funny. That what's his name? Richard Pryor is a brilliant comedian to watch as a black male because he's very, very clever. He's ridiculously funny and it's ridiculously offensive to a lot of people. Same like Eddie Murphy back in the day. But it's so funny. And you have to be... I think where sometimes it offends people as well is that, like I've been having this conversation, I think even with Sam, that black comedians will take the piss out of white people. Yeah. It's going to happen. That can't happen the other way around. Yeah. And that's because of the power imbalance. It's not because black people can take the piss out of everyone else. It's because there is a power imbalance. You can't do it if you just can't. That it's the same in that Asian people may talk about black people. It's still not done as much in that same way, but there's less of a power imbalance. So you sort of... You have to know your line, and it doesn't work always. And as long as you know that, and there's different ways that you can do it. It's not like I've seen white comedians do like the ghetto thing, and it's fine. You're sort of you're skating, but you're all right.
If it's contextualised, you know, if they've if there's a reason and they're not taking the piss out of a certain kind of group of people within society, and it's actually a story from their life and their experience, and that's totally fine. Yeah. But it's when it twists and it turns and it becomes a direct insult towards a person or a group of people.
Yeah. And it is. I think comedy is all about power. Mm-hmm. It's the same with the LGBTQ community, that you have to be very careful because of the power imbalances. You can't just go, you can mock people to a point, but when that's a marginalised group that have had no power, you have to be careful. Yeah. But you can still, there are comedians that can do it so well that it's kind of, Catherine Ryan sort of does a whole piece on a drag queen, but although she's mocking, what she's actually doing is bigging up the drag queens. So you're mocking, but you're giving back. You're raising awareness. It's a very different thing. With Chris Rock, if he's talking about white people, it's to show the power imbalance. Yeah. So it works, but you're always going to get people that don't like it. And it's not just Chris Rock. There's so many. Comedy is hard, and it will never be. I think David Walliams has just had a book cancelled, that because he'd written a book, and this kind of thing does frustrate me. So he'd written a book about an Asian boy with glasses, and I think he'd called him, I think the book was something like, say, Charlie Wong is never wrong, or Charlie Wong is never right, or something. He sort of did a play on words. People got very angry because he's fed into a stereotype. You've not done any, as he even has admitted, he did no research with the Asian community to see how offensive this would be, how it would play out, if there was a way that he could have done it, that it could have worked. So it's lazy. That you just think, so you've picked on a very old stereotype trope and you've gone, I'm going to write a book about that, I'm going to make loads of money. And what you've actually done is fed into another stereotype that all Asians wear glasses, have slanty eyes, and are nerds, and this, that, and the other. You've fed into it. That you have to be careful with that. I know David Walliams has been pulled up a lot, and I love David Walliams. I think he's a great man. But lazy comedy is not funny comedy. Putting on a black suit and running around and feeding into that kind of stereotype does bug me. Yeah. Because it's just power. Yeah,
no matter how much fame and how much position in kind of media you've got, you can't expect or assume that somebody's going to do the work for you and say, well, that's actually not correct. Go and do the fucking work yourself.
And that annoys me because you see so many, like there's been loads of fashion campaigns and things like that where they do, what was the one, I can't remember which designer it was, that basically did a t-shirt that was some kind of slavery thing. It looked like a jacket or like they'd been tied up, and then it went up to have like a ball gag in the mouth and a chain around the mouth. So it was like a take on, it was like they were making slavery fashionable. It was awful. When you look and go, why would you do that? Yeah. And it was lazy. You've looked at someone and thought, I'm going to make that cool. How many people are you offending along the line? That's just stupid. And you just think what it shows me is you've got no black people on your board. You've got no black people in power that will go, no, don't do that. Because if you did, it wouldn't happen. Yeah. And that just, again, is a massive problem. Because how are you going to make changes if you've got no black people at the top, or no one of any marginalised group at the top? If you've just got straight white males just sitting at the top going, I think that'll look good. No, I think that's funny. Well, no, it's not. But shift the power and then we can take the piss out of everyone. You can do what you want, but
do you think the power is slowly shifting?
No.
Do you? I don't know whether it's because it's more because of like the last 12 months or the last 18 months, maybe watching more TV. I don't know. It feels to me that there's more representation of more marginalised cultures and races being represented in TV shows and the media. I don't know whether that's because before had I been having the conversations, was I looking for it, was I aware of it? But now I am, and I'm thinking, okay, so that's got a really diverse cast, more diverse than I think maybe would it have been 2 years ago.
I think that things are different in that there's more representation in certain levels. I think if you still went up is where, and that's where the real power is, with the CEOs, with the management teams, I think that's still not happening. I think they're seeing that they have to change those bits at the bottom, and I think that half feeds the problem, I suppose, in a way, is because then we think, oh, it is changing because actually we're seeing more, but that's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But then actually, if you're still going that everyone else, so I think they did Back to Black or Black to Back
on Channel 4. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which was absolutely brilliant. And because what they were saying is, although you might see a black person in front of the screen, most of the cast are white, most of the directors and everything is white, the people that are getting paid the big bucks are white. So you're getting, it's like, okay, here, I'll have that, but you're not getting that bit.
Yeah. That's like a little band-aid over it. It's like, the public has seen this, so it makes us look good.
Yeah, and it's a start. I'm not going to knock it. It is a start, and it's brilliant. But there's so much more that they need to do. If you looked at, like I said, I think they've said it's like 2% of CEOs or something in this country are of non-white ethnicity. That's ridiculous. That's not, and it's got to go with the demographic of the UK, which I think is around 15%, like non-white. So we're very far behind.
Yeah.
The richest people in the UK generally will be, and it's fine. It takes time, and they have to sort of want to give up some of their power in a way.
But I guess what it is doing is for the young kids or the young people who are seeing that and are of that non-white ethnicity. They're saying, I could do that. That could be me. Yeah. It's not, that's not available to me. There's no
representation does matter. I was having this conversation with someone the other day about Love Island, because obviously I loved Love Island, and this year they did better. Like if you watched Love Island like 3 or 4 years ago, you'd get like the one token black girl. It's fine. And she'd always get picked last. It was like, it infuriated me, but it was nice to see, I suppose. And then this year they put in a lot more. It was like, yay, keep going. Like it was great, brilliant. And you've had Kaz and Tyler, so got down to the final 4 along with 3 other couples, and 2 of the males in the couples were mixed race, I believe. So you've got lots of representation. That's brilliant. I think it was Now magazine did a piece on the finalists of Love Island. Kaz and Tyler were not on the front page. They'd put a couple that had left. The 2 mixed race boys looked whiter than I've ever seen them look. God. Like they were so pale in this picture, and it was like, yeah, you've done it again, haven't you?
Wow.
It's the hate that Kaz and Tyler got online. Kaz was too loud. She was always screeching. Oh my God, why can she not just be quiet? Whereas there were other girls on the programme that were louder than Kaz. But again, people still have that kind of unconscious bias that black women are loud, angry, whatever else. And it was really interesting and sad to watch how people still feed into that, and how the media fucked me off, but how they still play into that it's sad, and that's what's got to change, and they have to keep doing it. And at the same time, and I think Love Island maybe this year had 1 Asian girl, but that's it.
I'd love to see a show like Love Island with such a huge audience just say no whites this year. Could you imagine?
It wouldn't get watched.
The outrage.
If the amount of complaints that Channel 4 day got was ridiculous. Oh my God, I've just turned on the telly and even the adverts are black. Yeah, good. It's fucking one day. Deal with it. Seriously. I loved it. I honestly sat and watched so much shit that I wouldn't normally watch, because it was just a really good day. It was just nice. Yeah. It was like Big Breakfast. I keep saying Big Brother. It was I love Mo Gilligan anyway. He is one of the funniest people ever. I just love him. He just could be my friend. But him and AJ Adudu, and AJ Adudu used to really annoy me. I'm starting to like her a bit more now. But doing Big Breakfast, and it was loud, and it was brash, and it was like, you had the cast. They were singing 21 Seconds by So Solid at like 9 o'clock in the morning. You just think, yes, this is my fucking life. Well done. Frigging it. But then they were also doing the news and everything else, because you can mix it up. It's not, and it was just, you just think that's one day.
Yeah.
And then even there was a programme on in the evening about these 2 25-year-old women that, I think they were African, and it's like a new drama. thing, and it was brilliant. It was like a drama comedy, and it was an hour episode, and that was on that night, and then the rest of them you have to go to all 4 for, and you just think, why?
Yeah.
Why would you not just put that on? Just run it, even if it's at 2 o'clock in the morning. Just run it. Why do I have to then go to the app?
Yeah.
You put it on for that day, and so it's like, again, I'm showing you what you could have, and then I'm going to take it away. And you're like, all right, it's fine. I'll go to all 4. It's fine, but it's just it's getting there. It's just slightly frustrating sometimes. And I think the more D&I stuff I do for work, the more I'm seeing this power imbalance that is scary, because you just think it's gonna, and it will take a few generations to shift it. But like you said, if people are looking and seeing themselves with people like Marcus Rashford, yes, he's a footballer, but he's also an amazing human being and doing so much. Yeah. You're seeing that. You're seeing David Lammy MP, that is just a force to be reckoned with. That you're getting that there, and it is. I've actually not forgotten, but it's Black History Month this month as well. Isn't it? That I'm doing lots for work, but then equally my brain goes. And that's why we celebrate Black History Month, is so that it is a month, and that again annoys me, because you sort of like, it shouldn't just be a month, but we're raising awareness, and if that then bleeds through, and that is the point. If you are celebrating Black History Month, continue that. Yeah. Don't just stop now.
Just stop on the 1st of November.
And people
okay, back to white.
And it does, which is, it's lovely to see it, but follow that through, because there'll be, if you're doing the Tudors, there will be Black Tudors. Talk about that, look at that. If you're doing the Romans, there will be Black Romans. Look at that as well. If you're doing wars, no, you can include us in everything. It is, that's history. Do a full, but that is a whole thing on changing the curriculum, because you could. But definitely do something this month. Okay. You can't not do something this month.
Why not, like, we've gone half an hour now, and we're not touching on our subject, so why don't we just talk about Black History Month and what we could do? Yeah. So you've been approached by one of the local primary schools to go and speak.
Go and talk to their staff.
Yeah, their staff and body.
Do you know what? In so many different ways, it was very cool, because it's the school that the kids used to go to. So I know the issues that they've had, shall we say. And for people to reach out is one thing. For people to pay is another. And that there's been a lot of posts, especially this month, because I think because it being Black History Month, a lot of Black people have been approached to talk or to do stuff for free. Which is wrong, because then what you're saying is, I want you, but I don't value you enough to pay you to do it. And the school, I put my fee down, and they said which, you know, and I'm not lying, I wasn't sure that was going to happen. I was a bit like when they said,
because you messaged us, and you were going to go lower.
I was,
but I pushed you to go higher.
And I've still gone lower than what I normally get, but I thought, I don't want to push them away. And I do get that schools don't have a huge budget, but I do think you have got the budget. I know you've got the budget. So for them to do that, and it's for the staff, and so that the staff can support their students, because as much as where we live is still majority white, it's getting more diverse. So I know I've been here, 8 years? And I've definitely seen I'm not the only Black in the village anymore, which is interesting. So it's good that they're doing it. And I've been approached by other schools just to do work with their kids again, that I think it's nice that people are going to put their money where their mouth is and see that this isn't something you can just go, okay, we're not going to do anything about it, and we're going to sort of push it under the carpet, because what are you then showing the kids that that's happening to?
We'll put it on the newsletter and tell the parents that we're doing it, but the activities will just kind of... If we don't manage to fit them in on a Friday, then, we'll try next week.
Well, this is what happened last year, is that I was approached, and it was never followed up. Oh. Because they just kept going. And that's fine. It happens. I know it's not... Even sometimes on my radar it goes, because I'm doing loads of other stuff. I get that, but I'm a Black woman. It's on my radar every day, really, that it should be more to other people. And that's the point, is that Black History Month is for us to celebrate Black voices and everything else, and that's brilliant. But if we are less than 10% of the country, you need those white voices to be going, let's do this as well, let's celebrate this, let's big up these people, which so many do, which is amazing. I've been speaking to a lot of our, not my team at work, but the wider organisation. People are doing amazing things, which is brilliant. I think one of our teams has made a postcard for every single day of Black History Month with a different black figure.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like with what they've done, and it's not just all the usual people you'd think of, because yes, we all know Rosa Parks, we all know Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Think outside the box. Think of the first black policeman in the UK, the Bristol riots, the busman from that. Like there's so many different people that you can look at. It's not that difficult. Someone shared an LGBTQ one at work, and it was amazing. There were people on there that I was like, never had heard of.
Wow. And
you just think that's the point. You're educating everyone.
Yeah. And
it is that kind of intersectionality that you have got black LGBTQ people, you have got black people with disability. I shared Whoopi Goldberg at work because she's got dyslexia, and it's World Dyslexia Week this week. So you can find ways to get it into everything. Like, get us in. Yeah. Let me in. Let me in. But no, it's great. I think it's a great month. And there is Maidstone, so I know some of our listeners will be in Kent, but Maidstone have got an art exhibition on this month about a black artist.
Okay.
Not someone I'd heard of, but I'm going to go at some point just because you should.
Is the artist still alive?
I don't remember.
Oh, no. There we go. We can find out something.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is for what you do, so what you're going to go to the primary school and speak to the teachers about, is that something you could do remotely? So, like, could our listeners who have got children in either primary school or secondary school, could they approach their school and say, look, I know somebody who provides a service to schools for a fee, but will help you?
Yeah. Because of lockdown, a lot of the stuff that I've had to do is remotely, and it works very well, especially if you've got bigger numbers as well. And it does work very well. And I've done staff training remotely, I've done young people's training remotely, and it does work really, really well because they still get to interact. It's not that they don't get to join in, and it's still, even if it's an hour session, they'll learn more in that hour with me than they've probably learned in the last year in school. And it's one of the great things that comes from all of the sessions is being able to answer questions.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will have questions, and by no complete mean feat of the teachers, they don't always know how to answer them. So
yeah, and that's what I've always kind of been able to shout about you for is like, I can ask you anything, and it's never, even if it's offensive, you can be like, oh, no, I'm glad you asked me that and not somebody else, you know.
But it is, you have to ask someone sometimes. There are so many things that people want to know and don't ask, and you just think, but then it is, who do you ask?
Yeah, I know.
And it is, because it's at the same thing. I think I was listening to, it was Nova Reid, who, again, I love her. She's got a podcast. It's really, really good. And she was talking to someone, I can't remember the woman's name, but black lady that runs a disability company. I can't remember what it is, but really, really good, actually. And they were just talking about sometimes that kind of, there's a word for it, but black-tiredness, effectively. There is a word for it, but I can't think of what it is. That of always being the sounding voice and always being the one that has to answer and has to say it, because as much as you want to do it, sometimes it gets to a point where, like, I'm tired.
Yeah, you've had times like that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Where you've just been, I just can't. I can't speak to anybody. I need to just hibernate for a few days because it's just too much.
It is, and it is. I think that if anyone looks into intergenerational trauma, and it's amazing. And I think the first time that I looked at it, and it probably was only a couple of years ago, and seeing how trauma stays within us through generations, and that's why when people say stop talking about slavery, you know, but we're still living that trauma. It's still within our genes, and that trauma still lives within us, and then things are still happening. So it's like that. There are points when things happen and it's so triggering, and you just think, because you're holding everything, you've still got all of that intergenerational trauma. You've got the trauma of your life, and then you see something else that you've talked about and you go, I can't. I just need to step back for a minute. And it is, I think the process of last year, I had to at one point go, can't do this anymore. I can't. It was just, it felt like people were personally attacking me daily, and they weren't. It was just my brain was overloaded, and it's not. There's so many people. There are so many brilliant allies that do such good work, and I will always say they shouldn't be paid more than a black voice when they're talking about a black subject. I don't agree with that. I think there's a lot of book writers that have profited, and they're doing brilliant work, but they also have to, you've got to give the credit back. I think we're going to talk about cultural appropriation at some point. Yeah. But again, it's that kind of thing. It's brilliant, you're raising the awareness, But what are you then doing from that point? That there's more to do than just go, right, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to make loads of money and not give anything back necessarily. You have to be very careful.
Yeah, it's such a delicate subject, you know, and when people say about, you know, stop talking about slavery, it's, you know, it's in the past, it ended. Wasn't it 2015 that the banks finally paid off their debt from paying the landowners, the slave owners. The
slave owners as well, not the slaves, the slave owners.
The slave owners. They were what was it called? The compensation fund or something like that.
It's ridiculous, and that's ridiculous. Our taxes were going back to
that. I know.
It's fucking mental.
It's sickening. Yeah. It really fucking
and it is. And when people say, and you will see it a lot, stop talking about slavery, and someone put a post up, and it was, you know, and even I looked and went, on 9/11. And so everyone else is putting the celebration post of 9/11 and saying we must remember, never forget. And someone put, why should we not forget? And just put, why we talk about 9/11? Because it's you're saying the same thing. We celebrate that, but with slavery, let's not talk about that. We celebrate the war. We have what's the day called? Poppy Day?
Remembrance Sunday.
Remembrance Sunday.
Fuck, you put me on the spot there. I was like, I used to go to Edinburgh Poppy, I had to stand in my brownies uniform. Fuck!
I couldn't remember either. But we still do such big things for that. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Why should we forget that but remember that? Yeah. It doesn't make... In America, that stupid flag, the fucking flag, I can't think of the name of it right now, it's associated with the South. I can't think of the flag. I can't remember what it is, but
we're not having a great day at remembering stuff, are we?
I know. I'm getting old. That's why my brain's going. But that flag, it's after like their wars and things in America. I'm not very good with history at the moment. But that is still remembered. That war is still remembered of the South fighting the North and everything else. So why remembering that? But you're not remembering the people as well, the people that fought in that.
Yeah.
And also, as a big point, is that black people did exist before slavery.
Yeah.
We, in a way, I'm not saying forget about slavery because we really shouldn't, because it was a long time and a lot of oppression, and there's still a lot of oppression from it. But also look at the other bits before that, and I think that's something to really teach kids. A lot of schools now are teaching slavery in schools. It's becoming back more of a thing. That great, you're talking about it. You need to talk about before that as well. And you need to talk about after that. You need to, don't just go, this is their contribution.
That's it. Because you're kind of making young people who are not having those conversations with their parents at home or they're looking online. It's like, black people existed to be slaves. So why should we see them as anything different?
Exactly. And exactly that. And it does. And that's why, but that is where the power comes back into it. Because it's the people that write in the curriculums. It's all of that. That needs to shift. Because if you've got the same people doing that, that's the message that you're sending. And if they're not going to somewhere else and they're seeing that, and then you're seeing like black people being killed especially in America, but it also does happen here, and you go, well, yeah, but they're criminals because that's what you're seeing. Yeah. Or they're bad people, or they're lazy, or they're this and they're that, they're flash. That's the messages that they're picking up. You need that positive reinforcement, that positive representation of going, no, actually they are kings and queens. They have been from the dawn of age. There were kings and queens that were black people. There was Roman emperors that came over here that were black. That look at that history as well, because then you're sending a different message not only to the non-black children but also to those black children of, do you know what, no, I'm from kings and queens.
Yeah.
And the problem is that and even I'm guilty of that, is that I didn't know a lot of my own history because I didn't bother. Because it was just like, you're young, you go to school.
Age, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And now I'm constantly on my kids, I say a lot more. Yeah. And there is, on that point as well, there is a book out that I'm going to buy. I'm not, for my niece as well, actually. But what are they, the Rebel books?
Yeah. Is Rebel. It black stories or Rebel Girls, Black Stories or something like that? They've got a whole series of books, Rebel Stories for girls, Rebel Stories for boys. They came out a few years ago. So I remember my sister Sarah bought Freya one of the books for her Christmas years ago. And it's fantastic. It's full of stories of women, the Rebel Stories for girls, females throughout history and who are currently still alive and kicking now, and what their contribution has been. And it's just fantastic. Brilliant. Yeah. And then now they've got the black stories for this. It's out now, isn't it? Or is it still pre-order?
No, I think it's out now. Okay. I need to buy it when I get paid. But that is brilliant. That is such a simple way that you can get that education into your children. It shouldn't, again, just be black people that are buying it, because everyone should buy it. Everyone should be reading it and going, yeah, look, this is actually, this happened, this person, and not, again, not just the people that you know of, but looking more into it. And that's where the shift will eventually come. Like I always say, the shift will come, but it's going to take a few generations to sort of make that change. It's not going to be my generation. It's doubtful to be my children's generation, but maybe their children or their children's children will grow up, because we're doing the work now. So as long as our generation's doing the work for our children's generation, that just keeps feeding down. And it's not easy. Like activism, and I never really looked at myself as an activist. It was just, this is just what I do. And more I'm like, no, I fucking am. I fucking am, and I'm very proud of it. And I think we all should be, because there's so many things that are fucked up in this world, and we can't just keep going, but it's just the world we live in.
I know, and it's just too much to take on yourself as well, because even parts of this conversation has given me that kind of that feeling of that doom feeling, like that vibration of doom in your body, like, oh fuck man, this is heavy. This, like, where is the light at the end of that? Or the darkness, if you want to kind of... I think it's the education. It is just people being aware that it's still happening and doing something about it. I'm doing the unconscious bias training, and it's generally the criminal justice system, which in the UK we know has, and everywhere, has a massive issue, especially around, if you looked at the black statistics, which when we go through it, it's depressing. Like going through and going, I think it's like 41% of 13 to 25s in prison are black. How the fuck is that when we're not? How? Because they're all bad. Because we're told that they're all bad.
And that's it. And it is that message. And I go through it and you're like, this is depressing. And they're the probation workers coming back and going, I've seen this, I've seen that. And you're like, this is really fucking depressing. And then actually you start talking about the things that can be changed and making sure that you are checking your unconscious bias, that you're not just fast thinking as an activity, that we do an activity where you sort of fill in the gaps because of your assumptions. So you're having a conversation with someone and instead of where you're trying to record it at the same time, you might not hear everything. So you're actually, what you're doing is putting in your assumptions. If you've got an unconscious bias that someone is this, and that, that's going to filter through, and in your notes it might not be correct. So you need to slow down and go, okay, make sure I'm hearing all of this, check it, make sure your unconscious bias isn't part of that, because then that will help change. If you've got a policy that you think that's not helping us, we need to do something about it, change it. If a workplace is not collecting the right data, so you're not actually seeing who you're employing, why, if your retention on like different minorities isn't good, do something about it. We can do little things. We always end the unconscious bias training on a starfish story about a little boy throwing starfish into the sea, and an old man comes up to him and goes, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm throwing the starfish because the tide's going out and they're all on the beach and they're going to die if we don't throw them back in. And the old man looks and goes, but there's miles and miles and miles of starfish. You can't save them all. And the little boy picks up another starfish, throws it into the sea and goes, I've just helped that one. And it is, if we can. And it's not thinking, it is an overwhelming issue. It is. Racism is an overwhelming issue. It is. But if we do one thing at a time, we'll make a difference. And we will. It's not, and you can't, if I thought that I couldn't do anything, then I would just give up with part. But I know that if I look at kids that may have even been, that I've had dealings with, say, that might have said something to my kids or have asked me, is this joke racist or whatever else, and then I've educated them, they'll go back and educate someone else.
It's all about the ripples, isn't it?
It is.
I remember when I was doing some research, when I was writing Take a Leaf Out of this book, there was an image that really encapsulated what I was trying to portray about taking small steps. Sometimes we see like kind of getting the nation to be more anti-racist. It's like, fuck man, that seems so difficult. But actually, if you, rather than seeing it as like a big rung on the ladder to kind of really reach up and grab that, why not think about, well, what can I do today? Who can I talk to today? What can I do tomorrow? Like the little steps, the tiny little steps that you take up that ladder. The little ripples that you, and it's, when you chunk it down.
It will make a difference. And I think and also that unity. Like if you realise that there's so many of us that are going, we're going to make a change, the more and more your voices just get louder and louder and louder and louder, and eventually it will bring down that power structure. It is difficult because the ones at the top, and when I'm not going to get political, but there are some figures at the top that you just want to hit.
Yeah, but they won't be there forever.
No, exactly, and that's it, and that's why it's, again, when we're coming back to the curriculum and letting those marginalised groups, because I think that it goes across the board for all marginalised groups, whether that's Black, Asian, LGBTQ, disability, they all need to be pushed up, and you need to take over those places. You need to go, yeah, okay, you can be footballers. If you want to be a footballer, that's cool. But what are you going to do when you are a footballer and you're making loads of money?
Yeah.
Be a scientist, be a politician. Like, think outside the box as well. There's so many jobs that you can get into that will make a difference. Apply to fucking Oxford and Cambridge. Do it. Try and get in there. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
But the more and more people that do, it will make a change.
It's realising and understanding that everything is available to you.
Yeah.
And not following what the media try and want to kind of categorise.
And if you do feel like it's not available to you, who can help you to make it available to you?
Yeah.
Look, there are services out there that will try to help. There are mentoring schemes that I think it's known that a lot of Black families say, you're going to have to work twice as hard. Then work twice as hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, and I get it, but we have to do something. We have to start somewhere. We have to.
But if it's twice as hard for you, it's that little bit easier for your kids.
Yeah,
and a little bit easier for their kids.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's it. It is. It's do the work, and hopefully that work will be repaid.
And like what you've done, and you've done a lot over the last kind of year and a half, is taking that step back when it feels overwhelmed.
Yes.
Don't feel overwhelmed and continue trying to go.
Yeah.
When you need to look after yourself and take on that self-care.
Yeah, and I think you said something to me the other day, but I had an idea, which I still want to do, that around kind of reporting hate crimes.
Oh, yeah.
Because my brain sort of went, there's nowhere to report it, and I could feel, I get that sometimes where I'm like, oh my God, I need to change everything right now. And I messaged Claire and she was like, very calmly, just think about it. Just think about how that's going to sort of affect, will it stress you out? Yes. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. But sometimes you need just having someone just put it into perspective that it is something I want to do, and I will do it. But I equally know that if I do it right now, I'm gonna have a breakdown. So not gonna do it today. Do it tomorrow. No, I'm not. Weekend.
But it's on a list of things that you can action in the future. You can aim towards.
Yes. Yeah, and it is, and also there are services that are doing little things, so then I'll big them up so that people know at least where you can go and things like that. Find different ways, but yeah, you definitely, it is in any kind of activism and any kind of making changes. It's like, I'm sure you get that as well with the mindset stuff, because that's massive, and trying to
people push back on that all the time, because it's like, well, I can't think positive all the time. It's like, it's not about thinking about positive and forcing yourself to be positive all the time. It's tipping the balance. It's all about balance.
Yes, it is.
Balance is the powerful word.
It is, and it's hard.
It's a nice word to say as well, balance. When you say it,
I can't say it without, there's a YouTuber.
Have I done this to you before?
It probably,
tried to, because I'm sure you said that the last time I asked.
I'm going to find the YouTube video, because it is, the kids have played it to me so much.
But if you think about the vibration of the word, and like I've done it when I've been feeling a little bit stressed out or overwhelmed by something, and I kind of think balance, I say balance, and it's just a nice neutral word to say, and it just
it's something that we do all know it. It's not a new thing. No, it's there. New. It just, you need to come back to it sometimes and go, right, I've said this week next week I'm going to be about boundaries. I've tried this week, but I wasn't about for work, because I do take on a lot. It's just it's how I like to work. I like to be busy, but I need to be boundary. If I'm going to be busy, you need to be boundaried and go, this is the time for this is the time for that, and they're not allowed to bleed over unless in exceptional circumstances.
Very good. That's progress. It's growth there.
I'm going to make it diary because I need to. I'm visual. I'm a visual learner. It does.
So I think that's been a really amazing episode, and it was totally spontaneous because it wasn't what we planned, but it's very fucking awesome. So we would love to hear what you guys are up to for Black History Month. Is it something that you've noticed your schools observing, or is it something that you've maybe, after listening to this, have you been inspired to maybe pre-order that book, Rebel Stories. Is it black
Rebel
girls?
Stories for girls, I think it is.
Is it just black girls and not black girls and boys? It'd be
No,
nice
it's
if they
black
did.
girls,
They'll do a boys one as well.
Yeah, I imagine.
But yeah, just what are you going to do? Like, what conversations can you have? I know we've got a training with Tanya at work later in the week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's about thinking of inspiring people in history that are of black origin.
Yeah, I should plan for that, really.
Yeah.
Like...
So yeah, tell us what you're up to, and
Yes.
We'll put in the show notes how to contact Tanya and Part, so that you can get in touch with her. You can pass on the details to your schools, because
yeah, definitely, and it
all
is.
about.
I am Kent based, but I can do it nationwide,
Worldwide.
worldwide.
I'm a global change maker. Global.
Globally.
On that note, I think we should go.
Bye.
Right, love you. Bye.